Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina. I'm the host, and my guest today is Inbal Gross from Israel. Hi, Inbal.
Hello, Marina.
Lovely. So we finally get to see each other. Like we've talked a lot on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah,
And it's lovely to have you on the other side of the screen.
yeah, thank you for having me. I feel like I know you,
Right.
although we never spoke, but
Right.
I feel you're my friend.
Well, yeah. Um, so I wanted to ask you, basically, like first time I saw you, it was with that sweater that's right behind you.
Yeah, and the
But
one that I'm wearing,
the
actually.
one you're wearing, right? But that's not where you started. So how did you start?
So, well, it's how I started as a designer. I
No,
think
let's
that's
start
where
with how you started as a knitter. Let's go back.
as a knitter. So I would say as a knitter, I maybe I learned how to knit when I was young, but I don't remember who taught me. I don't remember what I knitted. And then at the age of maybe 30, I saw, because of my son, who was very little, I saw these amazing dolls on the internet, the amigurumi.
Right.
And I thought, and I was always a creative person, so I always did things with him. He's also an artist, so I always found things to do with him. And then I saw these dolls, and I said, "Oh my God, people doing it!" And that's where I think when I found Ravelry.
Right.
So yeah, so I started making these dolls, these amigurumis, and there was a lot of information on YouTube, so there was no problem. And I put him to sleep, like we were selecting a doll, and I was we read a book or whatever. He would go to sleep, and I would make it like all night, sometimes and up to 2 a.m. just so he'll have it in his bed when he gets up.
Oh, that's so sweet. But
Yeah.
did you knit them or did you crochet them?
No, I crochet them.
Right.
I didn't realize that then when I started looking at Ravelry, I started looking at oh my God, there are such amazing garments there, and people can make it, and that blew my mind. That was because for me knitting was like old people knitting, or my mom maybe knitted some things in the 80s, and it wasn't like something so pretty. And I just saw things that I said I have to learn how to do that. So I went to we have a knitting yarn shop not far from here, and I took a course that gave me everything I need, like lace, socks, cables. Each it was 10 lessons, and each lesson just a little thing. So it was.
Did you meet any knitters there that you became friends with in those classes?
No. It was maybe 5 or 6 knitters, but no one that I had a common language with them.
Right. So how did Instagram and Facebook and all the social media, how did that change your life as a knitter?
Oh, a lot. Like all of my feed, the Instagram feed is just knitting. Just knitting.
Right.
I love it. It's everything I see just inspires me to, oh my God, I have to do this. I have to do this, and it's like for me, it's a constant inspiration.
So at what point did you you knitting, you're trying, you're learning, and then boom, you're a designer? Like when did that happen? How did that happen?
So I think because of the lockdown now, I mean, I was knitting, and I don't even have most of the things I knitted. The first thing I knitted was Melissa Lipman's garment from her cover of her book, which is lace. I have it here. It's like, that was the first thing I knitted after the course.
Right.
And it's really, really nice. I don't know how I pulled it off, because after that, everything I knitted was a failure, you know. I just kept trying. I don't know why. But the yarn wasn't the right for the project, and it just didn't turn out well. And I think that's one of the things that made me want to become a designer, because nothing fitted as well as I wanted. I was also looking at patterns, and I really wanted to make them, but there was always something that I didn't like, and I wanted to know how to change it. So when the lockdown came and we had to be at home, that's when I started to participate in Vogue Knitting Live, because before that I didn't have any access to all these lessons and knowledge. And suddenly it was here, and every month I took 3 courses. Like, it was, for me, it was like, oh, this is the weekend, the Vogue weekend. Right. And yeah, so I just took so many courses, and suddenly I realized I have a lot of knowledge. So I actually can do whatever I want. So
what was the first design? Let's talk about how that came to be.
I think that the seed for me being a designer, like, I didn't realize that's what I'm doing, but it was a knit along right in the first lockdown. There was a knit along with Shirley Payton, because she had an anniversary of her book, her famous book, which I accidentally ordered like a few weeks before that. So I just got the book, and then she announced that she's making a knit along, and I said, oh, that's cool, I'm gonna participate. And I didn't have enough yarn for the whole garment, so I had to buy 2 colors. Mm-hmm. And that's when everything started to be complicated, because how do I put the colors? Do I just make sleeves in one color and the coat in another? I didn't want to do that. So I started to actually redesign the whole thing, and it was cool. I actually won the most creative,
I love that.
most creative reward, because I just had to figure out so many things along the way, and it was really by accident.
Right.
So that was, I guess, my first
dabbling in design.
Right. And right after that, I saw that Suzanne Bryan is making another knit along, and I said, "Oh, that was so much fun! I'm gonna join." And that was the base for this garment.
Right.
So yeah.
So, was there anything that stumbled you when you were like doing this design? Was it easier for you because you already did it with the other one? What was the process like? Was there any frustrations in this process?
A lot. A lot. I learned, I watch a lot of interviews with designers, like your channel, and every opportunity I have, I listen to designers, and it's very interesting to me.
Right.
And they always say that there are certain things you need to take into consideration when you design for others and not for yourself. And you hear it, but only when you really do it, you understand that, like, I was fussy with certain details to match the pattern, and then you realize that when you have to scale it to sizes, you can't do it. Right. I mean, it's like a pattern 14 pages long. It doesn't make any sense. So a lot of things you have to simplify for it to work as a pattern.
Right.
Yeah. And
I was like thinking when you write pattern for others, right? And especially because at that point you are not an experienced designer. You might be somewhat more experienced knitter, but you're not an experienced designer, right? So when you write the pattern, and I talked to a lot of designers about that. Like, how do you know where to stop yourself from over explaining? Because like some patterns go into like use this cast on and then increase here and here and here, and like for each, it's like sometimes I print the pattern that I'm testing and it's like 37 pages, right? It's like a book. And other designers are like, okay, if you are doing this garment, you already know all of that, so I don't need to explain it to you. Where do you fall in that?
So when I started writing the pattern, I realized that's what I'm doing, like too much information. And when I read it, like after I wrote it, I needed this one, and that was the one that I made for testing my size along with testers.
Right.
But when I read it, I realize this is too long, or this is I can feel that it's too much information. Or so sometimes I put in this pattern. My background is also from UX UI design, so it's user experience. So I think it's in me to put myself in the eyes of the viewer or in the eyes of the reader.
Right.
So yeah, I can read it, and I can put myself like as if I didn't know what I was reading, and I can immediately feel that this is too long, or this is too complicated, or not explained as well as it should. So some things I just put as a tip, like I put it as and I know from my experience that when I read patterns, I can many times just ignore the comments, and that's so it makes it easier for people who doesn't want tips or anything. They just read the pattern.
Right.
And then the next stage was the tech editor. She was really helpful, and we changed a lot of things. She said no one is going to understand what you're saying, or like the sleeves. She said, listen, when people get to the sleeves, they just want to get over with knitting. So don't make it complicated. As simple as possible.
It's fine. Yeah. So like talking of simplicity, right? Like there are designers who like you look at their progression and as a designer, and there's like this simple shawl and a simple hat and a little bit more complicated and a little bit more complicated. And then there is you who like right into like the most difficult things. Like it looks complicated, it looks difficult, right? Were you afraid that like you were gonna scare away like your potential customers?
No, I mean, I know that this and this are not for everyone, but I don't care. Like when I design something that I would like to knit or to wear, because I'm bored when if you give me a garment with just stockinette, I'm not gonna knit it. I like to have, like I'm doing the knit along with Stephen West now, and it's so much fun to have just one part and then another part, and then it changes all the time. So for me as a knitter and as a designer, that's a lot more fun. Right. But I know that I'm overcomplicating many of the designs, and I know that people may be afraid to try it even. But for this one, I even have to do video tutorial because I feel that no one is going to understand what I'm talking about if I won't have something visual to explain it.
Are you like terrified about any particular technique, or you intrigued by anything new?
No. When I see new things, okay, for this one, I wanted to do color work, and I used for this linen and cotton, and they just don't work with the strand and knit work. so I just started to look for other options, and I found mosaic, and that was the first time I made mosaic. I ever knitted mosaic. Here, it's the first time I ever made interlock, because I've never tried it. But again, I had a problem with, I want colors. I like colors and I like textures. So
Right.
I didn't want to lose the colors just because this particular yarn is not working. I want to find a solution. So that's how I came to interlock. And I have so many ideas for things that I've never tried before. I like to do it, to try it.
So you just finished that sweater on the left, right? And you said you have a lot of ideas. Do you have enough ideas for the next year? Do you have enough ideas
for the next 100 years?
So how do you deal with that? Do you like write them down as they?
No, I don't. I just sometimes I admit I have an idea. I want to make it so much. I order the yarn and I never get to do it, to make it. Right. So by the time I see the yarn, I don't even remember what it was for, or I have a better idea. So I'm gonna do different things, and I can't draw them because I have, it's like when I have ideas, I have a concept, I know that I want to make something like that. But if I try to draw it, I need to get specific, and I don't have the specifics yet. And then if I'll try to start, it will take time, but then it will take my focus from what I'm doing now. So I don't care. Ideas come and go and come and go and go. I don't care if it's gone, it's gone. Another idea will come, And I try to sketch it only when I'm going to make it, like just before I'm going to make it.
So you mentioned the yarn purchasing. Talk about that, like how disciplined you are about buying yarn. Do you buy for usually for specific project, or you buy because you see something you like it, you have to have it?
I'm sad and happy at the same time to say that we don't have access to, too much. Like I can see amazing hand-dyed yarns, but I will not purchase them because it's from the United States, and to bring it here, the custom it costs me almost the same as what the yarn costs. Right. I did do it, and I'm waiting for the yarn from Canada. I just couldn't resist because it was. Their name is Ancient Arts Yarn. Do you know her? Every time she posts something, I'm like, wow. I mean, it's really so special.
Well, now I have to look it up and see what you.
Yeah, you have to. And I just saw one color work. I said, I'm gonna spoil myself. It's the beginning of the month. I didn't buy anything yet. I'm gonna spoil myself with this. Right. So it's very rare, that I do that.
So how is the whole knitting or craft culture in Israel? Like, is it easier to find locally some variety of yarns?
We don't really have a lot of local. I know that we don't raise ships for yarn at all.
Right.
So wool is not something that's local. I think we only import, and a lot of imports from Turkey and mostly Europe, I think. Right. But I can say that in the last year, I see that there are several yarn stores that I usually go to, and the variety gets bigger and bigger. So that's cool.
Do you have like a favorite yarn, especially considering that you're in Israel and it's hot, it can get like really humid, like what do you gravitate towards knitting with?
I feel that I don't have enough experience with knitting consciously you know, like knitting with something and really looking into it, like how, if I like it or not. It's a new thing. It's a new approach for me, I think.
Right.
So I don't yet have a favorite. No.
Do you wear what you make?
Yeah, always. Yeah.
So how do people
Actually,
react to it? Like, how do your friends, your family, people that don't know you, they see you walking on the street with sweater like that? What's the reaction?
people don't react.
Really?
Only like maybe at work or something, they would say, "Oh," and I also saw my clothes. So I don't remember the last time I bought anything to wear because I make my own dresses. I sew them, I knit them, and yeah, people like, "Did you make this?" Because they know that I make my own clothes.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you ever try combining different fiber arts, like sewing with knitting and stuff like that, putting them together?
I want to, yeah. It's something that, but for some reason, knitted fabric and what you call
Sewing.
fabric for sewing, yeah, they don't go together well for me. At the same, you know, as the same garment.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
So how do you divide your time? Like you have a kid, you have work, you have knitting, you have designing, you have sewing. How do you divide your work? Like how do you prioritize?
Knitting first. No. I have a son who is 17 and a half, so I hardly see him anymore. Yeah, so that's not a problem. And I work from home, so I don't have driving hours or anything. So it's like, okay, time's up for work, and I can just exercise or meditate, and then I'm off to. It's like every hour that I have, I dedicate to knitting or designing or yeah.
I'll ask you a question that I actually ask a couple of my guests. Do you feel like because you learn knitting as an adult and not as a child, you are more conscious at like learning more difficult stuff, trying to intellectually understand what's going on, whereas like people who knit as kids, like I noticed that there's like a lot of tendency of just like sticking to the same things that they're familiar with. Like, do you think it makes a difference?
Yes, I think I can see. I don't remember when I thought about this in another context, when I thought about school studying. So I at the high school I studied physics, and it was so hard. But today, if I'll go and study it, it would be so much easier.
Right.
I don't know why. It's like your brain understands. I think that when you're young, like everything is overwhelming, you know, everything is new and everything you need to absorb. And when you're older, maybe it's easier, although many people say that it's harder for them to learn new things when they're old. I don't know why, because for me it feels like when you approach something new, it's easier to I don't know, have it in a perspective and learn it, you know.
Right. But maybe like we also like know how to break it into little parts and learn it, like
Yeah,
see what stumbles us and like how to learn that part better and how to understand something better. I don't know, like I feel like the same way because I started knitting 4.5 years ago, and I feel like my approach to knitting is very different because I want to see like what else is out there, how I can learn it faster,
right.
how I can improve on my like I noticed like my grandmother taught me how to knit. I was like 7 or 8, right? So like there was never, but I never knitted. I knitted for like a couple of weeks and that was the end of it. But like I know at that point the ergonomics of it, or how to sit properly, or how to like make it easier, like it was not a thought. You just have to get through the progress, right? And now it's like
And you find it, right? You
right, I'm
find
like,
it
okay,
when
how I'm gonna like make it easier on my hands, like what kind of needles gonna make it easier for this kind of yarn, you know? So it's like there is a lot more thought going into the process of knitting for me.
Yeah, I think you just also, I think you have, as an adult, you have a lot more knowledge about anything, and you can apply it to what you're learning.
Right.
So even, right, if you have more knowledge in colors, if you, I don't know, if you painted, so you have a little knowledge about colors, and you can apply it to knitting, or it's like everything is connected, so you just have a lot more to pull from.
Right. So what's like the most frustrating thing in knitting for you?
It's very slow because I have so many ideas, and
Right.
like when I know that I'm done, like, okay, I figured this out, and now I have to just make it, and I want to make it fast, but I can't. I don't think I'm a very fast knitter.
Right.
So that's the only thing. I don't care about like frogging or redoing it. I do it a lot, a lot. If something is just doesn't feel right, or doesn't look as well as I want, I don't care. I just take it apart, redo it.
Are you working like usually on one project at the time? Do you like you concentrate on one thing until it's done and then you move to next thing, or you're doing like 12 things at the same time?
Yeah, I do a lot of things, but not design. When I design, I focus on one thing, but I also have like 3 or 4 things that I just need for fun.
Do you think like that's why you enjoyed the Mystery Knit along with Stephen West now, because you can do that and then combine it with other things?
Well, actually, I didn't finish the the clue on time. It takes a lot of time for me.
But
Yeah.
because for me, this is like the thing that I'm not enjoying, the mystery part of it. Like I like the knit alongs in general, like I'm a fan. But the mystery part is like really killing me because I want to go faster. I don't want to be stopped by the end of the clue. Like I want to go as fast as I can through it and like get to the end. So that's
Well,
so I usually like wait until like almost the last clue is out and then I jump in.
for me, the shell is so big, so by the time I get to the next clue, I'm halfway on this clue, so it doesn't, yeah.
Right.
Although I think that this clue, I think that by Friday I may be able to finish the clue 3.
Well, when you need, let's say, for example, because we're talking about this particular knit along, you need that shawl, right? You need Stephen West pattern. Do you learn something from it? Do you feel like it gives you ideas of how to make your patterns different or how to approach the design differently?
Yeah, especially his. I don't think I would make a mystery knit along with any other designer, because I won't like be as sure that I'm gonna like it. But with Steven, it's like, of course I'm gonna like it. It's not a question, right? And he, yeah, every piece is a different thing, and I saw something on clue 3 that I know that I'm gonna use for something. I'm not gonna say anything for people that don't want spoilers, but yeah, it just puts in so many techniques. So even this made me think like, wow, you can put many techniques in one piece. You don't have to be just. I think it's something that I'm just beginning to design, and I feel that I'm just doing this and then I do that and just many ideas. But when I look at designers, they have like they have their own language or their own touch. That you can say many designers. You can say, oh, this is this designers and this is, and I'm still looking like for my own
signature.
Yeah, my own signature.
Right.
But I know that what I'm looking for is something that is I don't know, that puts in many things together and opens. You had someone, I don't remember who he was. Spanish or Argentinian, and he was like real artist, like his garments.
Steve. Steve.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's from Barcelona.
Really artistic stuff, and I was. This is. I'm not gonna go all the way artistic. I want people to like wear what I do, but I think that's my. I want to open my mind and be less, less limited with what I do, and just try to. And it's hard. It's hard to let go of everything and just try things. I don't know how to do it.
Well, you'll figure it out, I'm sure. This is like a process of finding yourself and figuring it out. Well, I wanted to ask you about your YouTube channel. So you starting a YouTube channel, you just came up with this idea. Why? Like what made you want to do that?
So last month, I think, I know that everything has to be like, if you're a designer, you put it out on Instagram and you have to talk about it and you have to, put your stuff out there. And I know that many people do it in their YouTube channel. And I started to record myself, and I was actually sick, my throat, I was coughing, and I looked at the video and I said, oh my God, it's awful. I can't put it out there. But I also thought that it was so boring, like, again, I'm going to talk about my stuff and I'm going to show what I did and explain how. And I said, that's so boring. I mean, I want to do something different. And I started thinking that's how my mind works. Like, I have an idea. I don't know what it is, but I walk the dogs or I exercise, or whenever I do things that like, I don't need to think about anything. That's where I process everything and I just get ideas. So I thought, first of all, I know I want to have many people. I want interaction. I don't want just me and myself. I want something interesting to have, like conversations.
Right.
So I started thinking what to do, and I had an idea just to have sort of a game. Like I talked to you about it,
right?
And it's still developed, and I've written it down. So we're gonna record it soon. And I hope it's gonna be not too stupid, There's something like I'm doing everything in my head and I'm writing it, and I don't know how it's gonna be perceived.
Well, it's like the thing is this, I feel like with everything in life and with YouTube channels as well, what I learned from that, and I'm like brand new YouTuber, right? That if you try to plan it too much, it's just never gonna happen. So you just like at some point you have to like start like without knowing where exactly you're going with it, and let it develop on its own as you go. Like, because it's like you can't calculate everything, you can't predict everything.
Right.
If you don't try, it's just like nothing's gonna happen. So it's better to try first and then figure out the details later than not try.
Yeah, that's what I had an idea. I found I just put it out there with a spelling mistake, which I found an hour later. I'm like, oh, but I just put it out there. I had Duke saying, I'm in. I had Jen from Synoptic Stitches said I'm in. And then I just saw Scott's interview, which I loved. I said he's such his mind, I like the way he thinks, and I approached him. So we have a team.
Well, what I love about that this is all the guests of my channel that get together.
Yes. So, yeah.
I'm interviewing Jen soon, and we just figure out that she's actually from Boston as well, so which I didn't even know. So.
Yeah. It's all coming together. It's like a small community, and I feel we all like know each other. Again, we had one Zoom just to start to meet each other,
Right.
And I feel like I know these people, although I don't know them.
Right. No, it's
So,
fine because it's like I have that feeling when I went to Rhinebeck and I met Duke of Nico there, and there was like a bunch of guys and girls that I interviewed before,
yeah,
and it was like family reunion. It's like I felt like this is my friends, this is my knitting
right,
family, you know. It
you're
was like
right.
absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
But what you said about just do it, so I think that's my approach with every. If you overthink it, you start make it complicated for yourself in your mind. Yeah. So I just got got them. I didn't even know what I'm gonna do. I just got the group, and also when you get the group and you say that you're gonna do it, then you really have to do it because they're
Right.
waiting. You know, you can't
Right.
bail.
And then probably you can brainstorm together. They can give you their ideas and it can develop into something you didn't even think about.
Yeah, yeah. And I also started there's gonna I'll just say I don't want to like say exactly what it is because I kind of wanted to be a surprise because it's like really something that you don't see. It's like a game where we talk about knitting, but there are also little exercises and the viewers can do it with us.
That sounds
Just
so fun.
small things. Yeah, just small, really stupid small things. When I started writing it, I went deep, you know, and I went like about like philosophical questions. And I thought, what am I doing? This is not fun. This is like, so heavy. So I said, no, it has to be light, light, light.
So if you look back, right, at where you got today from where you started, what's your feeling about it? Like, are you a completely different person? Like, did knitting made your life completely different? Like, are you happier today than you were back when you started?
Yes, I think that I was always a creative person. I always painted, mostly painting. That was my thing.
Right.
And I don't enjoy painting as much. It's like the process is not that fun for me. I like to get to the end result. Same as like every creative things that I do, but with knitting, it's like I found my language. I found a thing that I really love to do. I can just do it all day. So
right.
Suddenly when it becomes something that I can really do all day, not just knit, but to develop inside this realm of knitting, it really changed my happy. It really makes me happy. Yeah.
You know what? That's funny because like I feel like that's what makes us feel like we're best friends. Like when you're talking about Scott and Duke and like Jen and you and I, right? Because we share that passion for something. There is like so much excitement in the air every time you talk about knitting. You find like this is your people, you know, and that's what brings us together.
And other people don't understand. You talk about knitting with other people, they're like, knitting?
That's nice. Yeah, that's nice, dear. Well, I loved having you on my channel. I can't wait to see what you're doing with the other three. It's going to be very interesting. And I hope everybody, so by the time this video is going to go out, you just going to start that channel, I think. So we're going to put all the information under the description of this video, and please guys go subscribe to this new channel, support Inbal and her friends because they all Fiberchat stars, so you have to support them and show some love. Subscribe, comment, like, and do all the things you're doing here. And if you're not doing it here, please do that here as well.
Do it, because this is the best. Really, this channel is something that every time you post like a new video is out, I listen to it. I just love your channel.
You know what I love the most? Like when I get comments under the video, I feel like I've been heard, I've had this discussion, I have friends, I have fans, you know, like this is the best thing. So yeah, please leave a comment, like write something, say hi.
Yeah, and it shows that you're really committed to it, and you're doing you work hard. It is.
It's a lot of work, but I love like every second of it. I really love like meeting new people and getting to know people and getting to see like the thinking behind the designers and like and the yarn dyers and everybody. You know, it's like it's really fascinates me. So I love that, and I loved having you on my channel. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me.
It was lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll stay in touch for a long, long time, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.